This mission comes with great risk. We are not sure if the command ship of the Federation will arrive in time. If not, then you all might be in danger of getting destroyed. Of course, there is still an 80% chance of the former happening. The skill level of this bunch of pirates isn't too bad. From past experiences, it seems there is an ace-level pilot amongst the pirates, hence you all must be fast, accurate, and ruthless. All of you must work as a team. Once conquered, hold your ground for an hour and try your best to delay the negotiations to allow the Federation to encircle the pirates. All of you must know, this opportunity did not come easy. The Federation requests that we get rid of the entire router pirate group. From Duncan's serious expression, it seemed like things weren't going to be that easy. Instructor, if that's the case, why don't we send the special forces undercover? Wouldn't the chances of winning be higher? Milo asked. First of all, this is our first time executing this plan. Furthermore, our opponents are extremely cunning. They would definitely send their informants on board into the spaceships. If they see that those on board aren't ordinary students, they will definitely not make their move. Besides, if their informants cannot slip in, they will not carry out their plan. This is also why this bunch of pirates who have acted so atrociously have yet to be caught. This is a rare opportunity, and there are no excuses for failure. Duncan shouted, "This is the last test for all of you, do you understand?" Yes, Colonel, very good. In consideration of the earlier results, we have decided to appoint Wang Zheng as the temporary leader. Although it is temporary, within this period, everyone must follow his orders. I emphasize once again, this is not a drill, and every single one of you must observe strict discipline. Any mistake can cause the entire team to be destroyed. Not only all of you, even our undercover agents can possibly lose their lives because of this. Everyone's gaze is turned towards Wang Zheng. Everyone knew that he was acknowledged through his performance. The outcome was unexpected, yet reasonable. Wang Zheng served as a compromise. Whether it was Achilles, Lear, or Lai Xin, they were able to accept it. Wang Zheng stood up and saluted. I guarantee that I will complete this mission. That's good. Next we have Tactical Analyst Major Emma to brief you about the tactics and deployment arrangements. Finally, it was time for the real battle. Honestly speaking, the military did not plan to let them take part initially. However, after Meng Ao and the rest had found out about the training situation of other countries, they were a little worried. With the lack of a real physical battle, especially when it concerned life and death, they might not be able to go far. The Solar System Federation had been too gentle and mild, whether it was with the outside world, or within their internal training. These soldiers had already lost their bloodlust. Also, from an overall point of view, this group of people was a better choice. Furthermore, even acting as a bait, ordinary students could not do it. There was no one more suitable than them, and it was even better if they did not have to escort them with actual soldiers. As for acting like they were nouveau riche, there were many of them that were genuinely born with a silver spoon in their mouths. There was no need to pretend at all. This time around, no one asked if they were willing, or if they had decided to pull out. This was what they had been training for, unless they were afraid of death. If that was the case, they should have gone back home, as this was a fundamental requirement of a soldier to not fear death. Regardless of which family they came from, these youngsters were not afraid of death. To Lear, Achilles, and the rest, this was nothing. Achilles had a certain level of understanding towards this group of pirates. After all, he shared good relations with the mercenaries. During their summer holiday training, they talked about it leisurely and naturally. The Router Pirate Group was the slyest group entrenched around the solar system currently. Their leader was extremely mysterious and ruthless, and he would choose to give up at the slightest signs of trouble. Also, he would make sure there were no mistakes once he had fixed his eyes on the target. There were rumors that he did not recruit from within the solar system, but from other planet systems, just to ensure that there were no infiltrators. Furthermore, once a traitor had been captured by the pirates, regardless of gender, he or she would probably regret ever being born. After listening to Achilles' understanding of the current situation, the masses had a better picture of what was happening. This battle had no room for failure. The moment they failed, committing suicide would perhaps be a better option than being captured. Don't expect the pirates to treat you according to the Milky Way Alliance prisoner treaty. It would be good even if you were raped before getting killed. The worst thing that could possibly happen would be the pirates not letting you die even if you wished to. Although Taros wasn't on the same path as Achilles, this was something Taros had experienced, as this was a common occurrence over at the Hades Republic. It was not that Taros had a gloomy disposition, but rather he did not get along easily with these people that came from such an orderly world. The place he was from was chaotic and full of strife. It was as though they belonged to two different worlds. Thus, he would rather exchange benefits with people like Lear, because benefits were the most practical. Honestly speaking, he did not view this mission positively. It was not because the team lacked the potential, but within this bunch of rookies, how many of them were actually fit for real battle? Besides, Wang Jung was the leader, a rookie who had never fought in a battle before. Did the military get shot in their heads and had brain damage or something? In the solar system, a Galileo flagship, a type of luxury spaceship, was moving in the vast space. This particular type of ship was a symbol of luxury. It could not hold many individuals, but each person had their own room and there were luxurious entertainment facilities. It had a swimming pool and a billiard room. If they were willing, they could even play a game of space golf. It was exhilarating to hit the peculiar golf ball in artificial gravity towards the vast space. Yet such a grand and luxurious ship was only serving a little over 30 students. Although it was a spaceship, its entertainment and comfort were first class. If you had seen their school badge, Montgomery Finance College, anyone from the solar system would know why. It was an academy for the children who came from noble families. Their funds come from the school's shareholders, who were also the parents of these children. They invested in the school through sponsorships, hence in Montgomery Finance College, their last concern would be not having enough funds. Especially when traveling to other countries, they paid even more attention to their appearance. The students gathered in groups inside the entertainment room. It was obvious that they were quite interested in this trip. There were more than 50 service personnel on board, and they were professionals that were specially selected. However, the informant of the Router Pirate Group was definitely within the service crew. The leader of the Router Pirate Group was extremely clever indeed. None of his informants were actual pirates, and they were rewarded for obtaining information for him. Reducing the risk of these spies to the bare minimum was the reason why this group of people was willing to work with him, taking zero risk yet obtaining high returns. That being said, it was obvious that there was a large group of informants. Everything was normal as the ship passed through the spaceports one after another. There were no particular stringent checks, but there was also no slack on their part either. These students, indeed, were young punks that were not easy to serve. At such a young age, they were already able to enjoy such luxurious lifestyles. On what grounds did they deserve it? In the shadows, there was a pair of eyes that looked extremely unsatisfied. There were 4 girls. Other than one who did not catch the attention of others, the remaining 3 were mouth-wateringly beautiful. If they had a chance to hit up with these ladies just once, they would have not lived for nothing. Perhaps they could negotiate terms with the pirates this time, and maybe it would be fine not to be rewarded. Milo, Meng Tian, and Lai Xin were passively engaged in a contest of beauty. One was as gentle as the moonlight, one was cold like an ice mountain, and the other was as passionate as fire. They had different styles, yet they were all beautiful. As for the odd one out, being self-aware of her looks, she went to one side and started drawing, facing the starry sky. Her family had so much money, why did she not go for plastic surgery? Her drawings were exceptional, and the rich were fond of this, doing all sorts of things known as art. Whether one was rich or not, there was an aura that could not be faked. There was even a boy who seemed to exude sunshine, giving off a domineering aura with his every move. On his finger sat a ring with a huge red gemstone that was highly valued. Looking at the accessories of the 3 ladies, although seemingly inconspicuous, each one could easily cost one's salary for the entire year. Traveling often involved relaxing and playing. For Wang Jung, nobility was something that could not be faked, but acting like he was a nouveau riche was possible. At the very least, he could imitate the presence of the nouveau riche Yan Xiaoshu. It seemed like the nouveau riche who came from Earth was competing with the moon's aristocrats for the favor of the girls. The 2 of them were having a fierce fight, while the others were just enjoying the show. Wang Jung's skills at billiard were not too bad. Each time he knocked a ball into the hole, evoked cheers from the onlooking crowd. Lai Xin was wearing an exaggerated outfit, showcasing her long legs and capturing the eyes of many with her every movement. Both Meng Tian and Milo had their own charms, but it was extremely difficult for guys to resist such sexy charm. Achilles, you must work harder. If not, I'll be accompanying him tonight, Lai Xin said as she laid on top of Wang Zheng. Her t-shirt had a large opening, and her snow-white breasts were vaguely visible. Probably only the people from Mars were this fierce and direct. Wang Zheng could feel a terrifying elasticity on his back. FK, Lai Xin, do you really want to go to such an extreme? Be careful, you said this yourself. I will take him down. When we reach our destination, whatever you want to buy, just take your pick. I will buy it. Wang Zheng said with his lustful eyes. My dear, this is what you said, don't regret it. Hey, nouveau riche Wang, did you bring enough money? Don't play dumb, Achilles said. I lack everything except for money. Furthermore, my brothers are around too. Am I right? Wang Zheng said to Lear. Lear shrugged his shoulders. Unless you let me have a share, I won't help you a single bit. The masses were stunned and started a commotion. Were they referring to the legendary threesome? Lai Xin scanned the scene briefly with her eyes before moving even more closely and grabbing Wang Zheng tightly. I don't like people who are stingy. Meng Tian, how about we both serve Wang Zheng together? Lai Xin asked provokingly. Wang Zheng felt shivers down his spine. Oh, my, was there a need to be so immersed in the act? Actually, it was Wang Zheng who did not understand the Montgomery Finance College. It was even more messy and complicated inside. A bunch of wealthy princes or deviant rich beauties, what else could they do other than seek excitement? Wang Zheng was afraid that Meng Tian would not catch up, and just as he was preparing to oppose, Meng Tian looked at Lai Xin in the eyes. It was not bad the last time, we can try it again. Wang Zheng nearly fell down in shock. What a fierce comeback, Meng Tian was equally formidable after all. These women were born with the potential to win an Oscar. Hey, you, yes, you, go and open another 10 bottles of Latour. It must have been aged for at least 20 years. Bill it under my name. You must be kidding, this tastes horrible. Zhang Shan exclaimed. He was in the midst of gaming, and he raged as he played. Although he wanted to pretend to be a noble, he eventually pretended to be a nouveau riche together with Wang Zheng. Actually, being a nouveau riche felt pretty good. The waiter quickly nodded and respectfully rushed out. However, at the moment of closing the door, there was a vicious gleam in his eyes. His Skylink was connected and a message was sent out containing only the letter O. It was a signal that there were no problems. Everything was going according to plan. The reason why the Router pirate group was always successful in their plans was because of their intelligence gathering processes. Even if their intelligence was leaked, the military would not possibly let the rich heirs become the bait. They did not have the guts to do so, as this raid would jeopardize their lives. Hence, the crux of this was to determine whether this bunch of people were really the heirs to rich families. This could be seen from the details, especially their tastes towards certain things. It was easy to act like a nouveau riche, but it was impossible to act like an aristocrat. At least half of them were aristocrats, so the cargo on this spaceship definitely had no problems. There was a big box lying in the hangar containing some goods. To be honest, it was just to impress others. The Solar System Federation was generous, and they liked exchanging gifts to show off. This was all done in an attempt to get others to respect them. When dealing with the outside world, it was of utmost importance for one to have a sense of pride and self-respect. Hence, everyone was willing to learn from the students from Montgomery Finance College. This would definitely bring about a tidy sum. Although Zhang Runan was drawing, she was actually observing carefully. It was not convenient for others to do so, and she was playing the role of an isolated individual. It was even better for her to be more detailed in her observations. It was inevitable to say that it was difficult for many to look past one's appearances, even for spies. Zhang Runan appeared to be fierce, yet she was elegant and classy when drawing. However, as a result of her appearance, others were unwilling to even take another glance at her. Zhang Runan had noticed the shifty behavior of a particular waiter who had a mustache. It was his eyes. When others were staring at Lai Xin and the girls, he was looking around, his eyes burning with desire. The other waiters did not dare to do this. Everything went as per normal and eventually, Wang Zheng, the nouveau riche, succeeded in getting the ladies to his side. On his left was the icy cold Meng Tian. Many were interested in knowing if she possessed a passionate inner self beneath her icy cold appearance. On his right was Lai Xin, who was sexy and hot, extremely mesmerizing. With both ice and fire right by his side, it was as though he had the best of both worlds, and even he could not resist the temptation. While everyone else was feeling jealous and envious, Wang Zheng brought the ladies back to enjoy the beautiful night. Luckily, Achilles was not left alone, he still had Milo. The others could only sigh. Both Wang Zheng and Achilles were the two contenders among the nouveau riche, no one else was able to fight with them. The rest of them went back to their rooms to rest after playing for a little while. In space, there was no day and night, but it was best to abide by the rules of having a fixed resting time instead of playing continuously. When the door closed, Wang Zheng heaved a big sigh of relief. For him to kill two birds with one stone like this was almost a fantasy. However, this happening in reality was impossible. There was approximately an hour before the spaceship would enter the designated point of attack, which was the most favorable space domain for an ambush. The Federation's quick response team was already on standby, but they had to delay their actions slightly to lower the pirates' guard. In the hangar were space mecha they specialized in, all primed and ready to go. Lai Xin, Meng Tian, inform everyone that we will begin in half an hour. The show was already over, but the two of them, Meng Tian and Lai Xin, were still leaning on Wang Zheng, and this was when he realized that something was not right with the two of them. Wang Zheng, my head is spinning, this doesn't seem right. Meng Tian was the first to collapse. Lai Xin's face was juicy red, and her lips were about to bleed. There's a problem with the wine, Lai Xin had practiced the Lai Flame technique, hence her body's constitution was different from others. Meng Tian was already on the verge of collapsing. Although she could still hang on a little longer, she had completely lost her will to fight. Wang Zheng then realized the severity of this problem. While their performance was applaudable, they had neglected the fact that their opponents would strike before them. In the words of the pirates, precious goods could not be damaged. His Skylink sent an emergency signal out, but there was no response over at the other end. In each of the rooms, Zhang Shan and the rest had all collapsed, and a few others had already fallen even before they reached their rooms. Their opponent had taken action immediately after they confirmed the situation, and in the near distance, 3 merchant ships were approaching, but, from the direction of the ships, it was obvious that something was wrong. At this moment, the 3 merchant ships suddenly accelerated, and Wang Zheng sent a signal for help. Duncan had received the signal, looking somber. He did not expect to be disadvantaged from the start. Dispatch all spaceships immediately. Upon his orders, 12 Clovis light assault ships immediately changed their direction, heading towards their destination at full speed. However, the 3 pirate ships would arrive here within 10 minutes. Meng Tian was already completely unconscious, and although Lai Xin was barely hanging on, she had lost her will to fight. Psychoactive drugs. Bring me some water, Lai Xin said as she bit her teeth. After pouring a bottle of water on herself, Lai Xin was feeling slightly better. Meng Tian woke up, but she was still feeling very weak. Give me some time, I think it is possible to recover. Lai Xin knew they were being too imprudent. Knowing that there were spies around, they still dared to indulge in eating and drinking, and they had never expected their opponents to have the nerve to do such a thing. The Lai Flame technique was already in operation. You take care of Meng Tian, I have to prepare for battle now, Wang Zheng said. Every minute gained now was equivalent to another minute of being safe. It was crucial for them to get into their mecha. If not, they would all end up getting killed, just like fishes on a chopping board. Just as Wang Zheng thought he would be fighting this battle alone, he received 2 replies. They came from Lear and Achilles, gather at the hangar. Lear and Achilles were actually heading towards the hangar already. They possessed the same judgment that in such a situation, it was crucial to get their weapons first before proceeding further. The pirates' fighter ships were charging at them at high speeds, preparing to ransack the goods and moving off before destroying the ship. Although this ship was valuable, in this star domain, such a merchant ship would only slow down their team, hence they did not need it anymore. Furthermore, what was valuable were the hostages. Liao Pin looked at his masterpiece cheerfully. After he set his target, he immediately knocked out everyone with HT9, the most powerful tranquilizer on the black market. It was so strong that it could even knock out a cow. One could regain consciousness from this drug by pouring water over oneself, but they would feel fatigue for about an hour, allowing the opponents to do whatever they wanted in the meantime. This was a big bunch of people. He had suffered for many years, all for the sake of this large catch. Once it was completed, he could go for plastic surgery, change his identity, and lead a good life. However, there was still time. He had lingering thoughts about the three beautiful ladies. He still had another 10 minutes, so it was still possible for him to do something, to enjoy himself. If the girls ended up in the hands of the pirates, he would get nothing for himself. Liao Pin's heart was on fire at the thought of it. Looked like this was the place. Once he looked up, he saw a shadow heading in his direction. Wasn't this the nouveau riche? How did he? Wang Zheng had also noticed Liao Pin. The opposing party did not have any intention to run away and took out a knife. Although weapons were not allowed in there, such tools could be easily found in the kitchen. A rich playboy, that was what the opponent had thought of Wang Zheng. Wang Zheng sped up and charged over, grabbing the knife in an instant and disarming Liao Pin. It was like dealing with a baby. He was trussed up and taken along. In the hangar, Lear and Achilles had already unlocked the mecha. The two of them were completely fine. Lear did not trust anyone, hence he did not eat or drink. Although Achilles had eaten and drank, he was the sun god. His ability overcame the effects of the psychoactive drugs. Maybe it was Achilles' ability X when Wang Zheng met up with them. The trussed-up Liao Pin was dumbfounded. He had added a stronger dosage of the drug to their food and drink, out of which, he had witnessed both Wang Zheng and Achilles consuming it right before his eyes. How could this be? You guys better release me, if not, you'll regret it later. Liao Pin laughed. Papa. Lear knocked out a few of Liao Pin's teeth the moment he went up to him. As he pinched Liao Pin's mouth, he said viciously, you'd better have a solution to delay the attack from the pirates. If not, you will not live past tomorrow. A pitiful scream resounded. At this point, Liao Pin realized that this bunch of people were not the nouveau riche he thought they were. You, who are you exactly? Liao Pin did not expect these guys to be so ruthless. At this moment, Wang Zheng received another message. It was from Zhang Runan. She had only consumed a small amount of the drug and her strong body constitution had allowed her to recover quickly from a trance. Runan, you'll be responsible for taking care of everyone. Gather them at the captain's room quickly. Together with Lear and Achilles, we will be in charge of attacking. You all have to get in contact with the fleet as quickly as possible. It's useless. The Federation fleet needs at least an hour to arrive, and you don't even have 10 minutes to spare right now. Haha, quickly, release me now, maybe I can still give you a chance to beg me for mercy. Boom. Lear stabbed a knife into the ground right beside him and Liao Pin immediately shut up. There's no need to talk to this minion, the enemies are already here. On the outside, the three merchant ships had already taken off their disguises and hung up their pirate flags. The Router Pirate Group, the most ruthless and scheming pirate group in the Solar System Federation. Atom-class battleships, equipped with a main cannon, ferrying over 180 mech warriors and 500 fighters, Achilles said. This was the cruiser produced by the moon. There were 3 of these ships, and on their side, they only had 3 people. The opponents are extremely cautious in their actions as they intend to capture us alive. Therefore, they probably will not use their main cannon. The rest is up to us, Wang Zheng said. Lear and Achilles exchanged glances. Even with their abilities, it would be difficult to hold these pirates off. Wang Zheng, Lear, we have been fighting over the position of leader all this while. Right now we have a golden opportunity to resolve this problem. How about this? Whoever kills the most will become the leader. Achilles suddenly said. When one had the capabilities, one would have confidence as well. A glimpse of light flashed through Lear's eyes. He was unwilling to take the risk, especially when the investment and rewards were disproportionate, but sometimes one had to just take the risk. Wang Zheng smiled. It's settled then. Let's go. The 3 of them quickly entered their cockpits. A mech was capable of creating miracles. especially under the control of an ace pilot. However, that was generally only after numerous failures. It could only be said that the three of them were not all afraid of what the pirates had in store for them. The target was in sight. The leader of the pirate group, Eric, looked indifferently at the floating target. It seemed like Little Worm had already gotten everything under control, and the shining scar at the corner of his eye looked particularly grim. The batch of goods in store for them was not too bad, especially the three beauties inside. Not only could the pirates sell them for a good price, they could also take the opportunity to have fun with the ladies themselves. "Boss, we've lost contact with Little Worm. Could something have happened?" The transaction this time around was pretty big, hence Eric had to come personally. Failure was unacceptable. Eric frowned. Looking at the whole process, it should not be a big problem, but the problem had to happen at such a crucial time. Based on his prudent habits, right now was the best time to turn back, but such a big catch was right in front of him, and the Federation's fleet would only arrive in an hour's time. Send out the mecha, board the ship, and settle everything within half an hour. "Yes, boss. Our brothers are ready." A bunch of pirates went into action immediately, and one burly pirate stood beside Eric. "Boss, could this be a trap?" "It's not a big problem, such a situation is normal. Even if there really is an issue, there is nothing much they can do with one merchant ship. I'm more interested in what they have inside," Eric sneered. "If there is a problem, we can also see where the problem lies." "Yes, boss. Do you need me to personally lead the team?" Mu-sen said. "It's just a small matter, you don't have to get involved. It should be done within 10 minutes. A few hundred mech warriors were flying out from the three battleships, heading towards the merchant ship. On the other hand, 3 mecha flew out from the merchant ship. Eric laughed. They're putting up a desperate struggle. Looks like the old folks from the Federation really cannot think clearly. I'm afraid it's all student soldiers inside. It was inevitable to say that Eric's ability to infer was pretty strong. Little Worm had confirmed the situation inside, and in addition to the resistance put up, it looked like he did not manage to knock out everyone. The Federation troops were pinning their hopes on a bunch of young punks to stop him. It was like a wild fantasy. But how did their information get leaked? Once they were captured, the answer would probably be revealed. Wang Zheng, together with Lear and Achilles, piloted the 3 space chariot Type Ks from the moon, heading towards the mecha army headed towards them. Suddenly, laser beams flashed towards them. To the pirates, resistance could not be tolerated, and anyone who resisted would be killed. Within the ship, Lai Xin and Zhang Runan had already gathered the masses. They laid restlessly in the ship captain's room. Lai Xin's Lai Flame technique was indeed formidable. She had already recovered a significant portion of her fighting power. However, it was necessary to have someone protecting and helping within the ship itself, and just having Zhang Runan alone was not enough. Taros was taken into the cockpit by Zhang Runan, and he was really regretting his actions. He also wanted to look good. Had he known, he would not have consumed all that drugged food. His judgment was truly clouded. It had all boiled down to having a relaxed, careless mentality that an individual held. No wonder Lear had only consumed a little. Everyone should have been wary when they were nearing their destination. The rest could only provide mental support for the team. If it was the whole unit that went forward, there was a high chance of delaying the pirates, but now. Achilles' silver mech was in the center, and on both sides stood Wang Zheng and Lear respectively. The real battle had begun. Achilles could finally give it a go. No matter how good he was during the training, what mattered was showing his abilities and courage during the actual battle. This was a tough battle to fight, but despite the differences in their styles, they were in unison when facing such a situation. Achilles' space chariot was the fastest amongst the 3 and performed a high-difficulty maneuver, allowing his mech to penetrate into the mass of enemies. At the instant he stopped, the space chariot's guns on its 2 shoulders opened fire at the same time. It had an amazing ability to combat in any direction. Rumble rumble, 3 enemy mecha had been shot down. The space chariot suddenly burst forward. The pirates felt shivers as the beam sabers slid through their companions. Achilles had already started to kill crazily. Milo and the rest clenched their fists, for they believed that Achilles was able to save them. This was the person they have been following all this while. The fierce and terrifying sun god. Lear did not take the spotlight. He allowed Achilles to take the brunt of the pirates' attention and started circling the enemy mass. Without any big commotion, 3 mecha were taken down. It didn't require any fancy abilities. Wang Zheng served as a reserve force. When faced with a disadvantage of arms, Wang Zheng knew that harassing the opponents was not a great idea. It was crucial to devise a way to break through the pirates' mecha and quickly attack the opponent's mothership. The joyous atmosphere in the pirates' ship dampened instantly. When the 3 mecha had first come out, they were still very relaxed, but after looking at their prowess in combat. Eric slammed his fist against the control deck. Ace pilots. Fine, since you guys want to play, then we'll play along too. Dispatch the drones. Yes, boss. What exactly was the concept of an ace pilot? They were the king of mech warriors. The pirates had fought countless battles, and there were many excellent ones who were willing to sacrifice their lives in battle. However, when dealing with ace pilots, especially when there were 3 of them, there was a heavy price to pay even if the pirates managed to take them down. To Eric, each of his subordinates was part of his precious wealth. In no time, several Shadow Hunter drones rushed out. They had the form of airplanes, and on their 2 sides were Gatling laser guns. Although they were not very technologically advanced, they posed a big threat when they attacked as a group. To put it simply, this was the suppression caused by superior arms and power. Once the drones were dispatched, the pirates' mecha immediately withdrew, forming an encirclement, allowing the drones to assault and deplete their energy. Undeniably, this bunch of pirates were trained well, and they were efficient in carrying out orders. This resulted in the trio, inclusive of Wang Zheng, being not able to carry out their attacks. With the drones coming towards them, Achilles gave out an order. Disperse. The 2 of you, tie them down. I will go straight in. Unknowingly, Achilles took on the role of the leader, but no one said anything. It was because he was destined to be the leader. He had an aura of leadership that had accumulated till now. It would not be changed because of a mere appointment of the leader position. At this moment, no one was debating over who had the power to lead and direct. Besides, Achilles was taking the most dangerous task for himself. He suddenly rushed through the middle. Wang Zheng and Lear performed a high-difficulty maneuver with their respective space chariots, widening the gap quickly. However, tens of Shadow Hunter drones had rushed forward and there were even more of the pirates' mecha catching up from behind. Eric salivated. In his head, he had this thought. How good it would be to capture these aces alive. However, such thoughts could only remain as thoughts because the price he would have to pay in order to capture them alive was too heavy. Fine, the Federation military really had the guts to send their elites from the solar system military schools. These guys were worth much more. Little Worm had really accomplished something big this time. If these guys had gone to battle in their usual state, they might have obtained a Pyrrhic victory, but now. Eric sneered. There was enough time. When Meng Ao and the other 2 received this message, they were shocked and angry. They had assessed the risk before sending them over. Wang Zheng and the others were equipped with the necessary fighting power for battle, but if there were only 3 of them who could enter the battle, that was the end for them. They were sent to complete missions, not to send themselves to their own doom. This was something that the solar system military could not accept. Duncan, order the fleet to charge ahead immediately, at any cost. Lai Wuqing shouted. Crap, if anything happened to Lai Xin and Lai Guang, this was going to be a big problem. This bunch of people were too careless. The 3 of them felt anxious and helpless, for they had thought they were mature enough, but the signal eventually connected and, seeing that Lai Xin was with the group, Lai Wuqing heaved a sigh of relief. Lai Xin, what's the situation now? Lai Wuqing asked. General, we were plotted against. Currently, Wang Zheng, Lear, and Achilles are fighting against the enemies, and most of us have lost our fighting power. General, I've already recovered to about 70 to 80%. I would like to request to join the battle. Lai Xin said. The battlefield had already been suppressed by the pirates, so Wang Zheng and the rest could only choose to escape. Achilles was also surrounded, and while they maintained high-intensity operations, it was impossible for that to last. Taking one glance at Lai Xin, it was evident that she had only recovered about 50% of her strength. Sending her out to battle would only mean sending her to her death. No, everyone else stays in the ship. In case, and I mean just in case, we fail, you all shall not resist. I will handle the rest. The anger in Lai Shin's heart had already reached its peak, but she could not possibly let the group die in the hands of the pirates. Similarly, Wuqing, as one of Mars' generals, was also boiling with anger. Even if the pirates were rendered into pieces, it wouldn't abate his anger. The fleet led by Duncan was already charging ahead at full speed. It was clear that if they were to fail this mission, the other generals might be spared, but the soldiers from Mars would not escape a military trial and might even be executed on the spot. Lai Shin was extremely anxious, and so were the others. They were restless. Even if they were comfortable enough to pilot a mech, sending themselves out to battle would probably mean instant deaths, but it was even more uncomfortable to see the rest of them suffer in this state. Meng Tian looked pale. She had made such a fatal mistake at such a crucial time. Zhang Shan, on the other hand, was so furious that he slapped his own face in frustration. He was unable to perform at such an important time. He would have rather died gloriously in battle than cooped up in this cabin. No way, I want to fight. The three of them don't seem like they can hold on. Lai Shin said after a moment of deep thought. But Zhang Runan pulled Lai Shin. Lai Shin, you have not recovered. If you go out there, you might drag them down instead. This time, Zhang Runan was calmer. The three of them were in an extremely dangerous situation, but it had not reached the final moment, as they were the strongest men equipped with ability X. Just like butterflies were attracted to flowers, Lear fluttered around his opponents, attracting the attention of the Shadow Hunter drones and eventually causing them to bunch up. Right at this moment, the space chariot suddenly stopped. Something shot out, and there was an unusual spatial. One of the Shadow Hunter drones exploded, and subsequently the other drones were caught in a chain explosion as a result. In a flash, tens of Shadow Hunter drones that were chasing after Lear, along with over 10 pirate mech warriors, had all turned into scrap. In the meantime, inside the cabin, the group was cheering loudly. It was totally unbelievable. At this moment, no one felt that Lear was detestable, he was extremely cool. Lear's ability X, but Lear could not hear the cheers. He had turned pale instantly after executing such a showy move. He still had to keep some energy in reserve as the pirate mech warriors were not intimidated by what he had done. Seeing Lear show his powers, Achilles, who was trapped in the center, had also taken action. A strong silver light emerged from the space chariot. Countless laser beams shot at Achilles' mech, but all of them were blocked by an invisible force field. Achilles was like a god, absorbing all the laser beams. Then, all of a sudden, countless lasers were reflected back, striking the drones, and a large area was cleared out in no time. At this point, Wang Zheng knew that he could not hold back either. Wang Zheng was certain that his primordial regression technique would allow him to sustain his ability X, yet in this situation, even if it could not, it was time to take action. His space chariot retreated with his lasers blazing. However, at this point, the lasers he was shooting out seemed to be glowing with even greater intensity. Boom, 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 boom. He pushed his mech to its limits as he attacked in every direction. Once a drone was hit, its energy shield could no longer be used. Following which, the drones would lose control, flying in all directions and even colliding with one another. Chaos ensued. Eric and the rest were dumbfounded. What the FK was going on? Eric shouted, "We're going to be rich. Dispatch everyone, catch them all alive." Good. We have one with a spatial ability X, another equipped with a force field ability X, and one equipped with an ice ability X. Based on what we can see, they are already at grade C. As long as we capture the three of them, we can retire already, ha ha ha. Such capable guys, and in addition to Little Worm's intel, they were all quite young. They were definitely the most valuable within the Solar System Federation. Besides, to attain such a high level of skill was not something that could be done by ordinary individuals. The Solar System Federation had clearly taken a huge risk with this operation. Eric had also gone crazy, dispatching all the mech warriors and unmanned drones from their mothership. In addition to the goods on board, this was not just the case of paying ransom. Getting money, equipment, or even a few Aegis-class battleships in exchange for these individuals was not a problem. The trio felt weak after using their abilities. Using the mecha to execute their respective ability X's had used up even more energy. Whilst the trio was stressed, they saw a glimpse of recognition from one another, having the same level of powers and abilities. They had not been battling amongst one another all this while for nothing. But looking at the large group of mecha dispatched, with the addition of the unmanned drones, which numbered over 500, it looked as though the pirates were going to struggle to the end. Even the conceited Achilles felt a sense of helplessness. Even if they could use their powers again, that would leave them with no energy to retaliate and fight back. Furthermore, the current situation was that even if they went all out, they would only be able to destroy 50 mecha or so. Persevere, go in circles, and hold up until our backup arrives. Unknowingly, 10 minutes had passed. It seems like the opponents want to capture us alive. Now's the time to make use of it. Lear looked at the enemy's lineup and noticed something. The lasers roared, but it was evident that they were not as resolute as before. The opponent's strength in numbers was a great advantage. They could potentially split up and surround the trio. With their constantly depleting energy shields, under such circumstances, the three did not have many choices left. Inside the ship, Lai Xin and the others were quiet. The hopes that they had earlier were dampened once again. Lai Wuqing was also feeling the same. He knew the capabilities of the three soldiers, but watching till this point, he was even more determined to rescue the three soldiers at all costs, and before that happened, they had to hold on. Time passed, but the pirates were hesitant to take action. What made things worse was that the trio had strong powers and were skilled, making it difficult to catch them, albeit the fact that they were slowly being drained. It was not impossible to capture them alive, but the crux was that time was running out. Eric was also keeping track of the time. He really wanted to capture the three of them. If that was done, it would be possible for him to exchange them for 3 battleships. However, the truth was harsh. 20 minutes had passed, and he had to take his captives and leave before it was too late. Don't waste any more time, destroy them instead. The laser beams from the drones and the mecha flashed towards the three. The pirates could not take it any further and started attacking relentlessly. However, the trio quickly retreated and made use of the merchant ship's energy shields as shelter from the assault. If it came to close combat, they had no fear as they were confident in their own abilities. In order to not gain attention, the merchant ship was not equipped with arms, but had reinforced the energy shields to delay for time. All their preparatory efforts were quite adequate, but reality always came up short. The unmanned drones were dive-bombing the shields, and the pirates' mecha were preparing to board the ship. It was time for close-quarters combat. Chief Officer, fire the guns now, boss. What if we lose our goods because of this? Are you dumb? Take down the energy shield. Yes, boss. The main guns from the 3 battleships began to charge up. The rays reflecting off from the main cannons appeared particularly icy cold in space. Lai Xin and the others were watching, but there was nothing they could do. Rumble rumble, a blast was shot out, colliding directly with the energy shield. The energy shield shook violently, and the alarm rang out. Danger, danger, ship's energy level has dropped to 60%. It had to be a joke. These pirates were actually shooting a civilian vessel with a military-grade ship armament. It was just a matter of time before they were destroyed. Meanwhile, some of the pirates had already started wreaking havoc inside the ship. Moments later, another laser shot towards the ship with the IG participants. This was an extremely accurate hit, aiming for the rear of the ship to knock out its engines. The people witnessed the laser beam coming towards the battleship right before their eyes. If it hit the target, even if they had the protection of the energy shield, it would cause significant damage to the ship and might even penetrate through it directly if they were unlucky. Suddenly, a mech warrior appeared in front, and under Wang Zheng's control, the mech's energy shield was activated. His ability X burst outwards. With the space chariot as the center, a white area appeared around him, forming an icy shield. Boom, but when the laser blast came into contact with the ice, the entire area turned into mist in an instant. Boom, Wang Zheng's mech was struck directly and blown away. His energy shield was completely destroyed. Although the laser cannon's shot had been mitigated, such an attack could not be forcefully resisted so easily. In a moment of fury, Zhang Shan jumped up. He had shaken off the effect of the drugs with his willpower. "FK, I'm going to fight with you." Lai Xin nodded his head. Those who can still stand up, follow me. The trainees stood up one by one. Lear and Achilles were stunned by this sight. Honestly speaking, Wang Jung wasn't someone they wanted to get to know better. He was very different compared to them in special. However, he was undoubtedly a good opponent. At least for so many years, they had never met someone like that. At this point, the two of them made a decision. Lear, looks like we have to continue our battle in our next life, Achilles said. He could have chosen to surrender, but at this moment, he just didn't want to. Lear sneered. Why wait till our next life? How about now? It's possible for us to at least bring down one of their battleships. Great, it's my first time hearing such pleasing words from you. Achilles and Lear stood alongside each other. This was the first time they had joined forces after so many years of fighting. Laser beams raged as flames raged in every direction. The two of them forcefully broke through the blockade. At this point, it was already pointless to only defend, it was necessary to attack till the end. Using a mech to block a battleship's laser cannon was pure folly. Far away in Atlantis, Aina had already settled her tasks, for she knew she would be able to see Wang Jung not too long after. She was extremely happy at the thought of it. Even the maids were whispering amongst themselves that the princess was glowing like she was in love. Suddenly, Aina felt her heart turn cold, as though something bad had happened. Wang Jung lay amongst the debris. His mech was crippled and basically destroyed. If not for him dodging at the last moment, he would have been turned into ashes as well. At this moment, the cube at Wang Jung's chest began to emit a dim glow, covering his entire body. Assessing structure. No major damages. Assessing mental state, 30% damaged. Assessing surroundings. 200% danger. Emergency rescue activated, releasing battle energy. Instructor Bonehead's shadow activated selection criteria, Super Warrior. Target selection. Destroy the enemy, execute. Wang Jung's eyes flashed with red light and his arms reached out to the sky, activate. In the warehouse, Lai Xin and the others had already activated the mecha. Whilst getting ready to move off, they realized that one of the crates deep inside the warehouse started moving by itself. That was an Atlantis mech, but it was not meant to be used. No one knew why it was placed inside here either. As it turned out, it was Lai Wuqing's unintentional doing. After witnessing what had happened, he made a quick decision to put the mech inside. This was Atlantis's Phantom King. Boom, the Phantom King punched away the crates, walking out with big steps, covered with shining runes. Lai Xin and the others were shocked. There was no one inside. Boom, the mech flew out of the hangar and landed right by Wang Jung's side. A ray of light shot out and Wang Jung was sucked into the mech. The moment Wang Jung got sucked in, the mech's eyes turned red. The runes also turned crimson, as though blood was flowing through it. Boom, the Phantom King flew towards the sky. At this point, Achilles and Lear were already heavily surrounded. These bastards who came out later were obviously more skilled. This bunch of people were experienced pirates, some of which were once mercenaries. They knew exactly what their opponents were up to. But right at this moment, a mech with blinking red lights appeared, shocking everyone. Wasn't that an Atlantis mech? How would anyone in the solar system know how to operate an Atlantis mech? Rumble rumble, wherever the Phantom King passed by, only destruction would be left in its wake. Kill this bastard, Eric shouted. On the other side, a pirate named Mu Sen had already left his post. How much longer do you need, boss? I need another 5 minutes. Quick. Those outside can't hold on anymore. Changson's face was stern and serious. He knew that those outside were the elites of the solar system, and they could not afford to die here. However, he could not attack first but had to resist, in fear of losing everything as a result of his haste. Rumble rumble, the Atlantis mech was like a ghost in space. It was surrounded by tens of mecha. Although it seemed to have rushed out of the encirclement, an afterimage was left behind at its initial spot. Yet at this moment, both the afterimage and the mech struck out at the same time. Laser beams rumbled in space as the Phantom King and its image attacked, resulting in several pirate mecha turning into heaps of smoldering flames. The pirates weren't dumb and they retaliated against the Atlantis mech. However, only the afterimage was hit. The afterimage only exploded into mere shadows which faded in the darkness, while the actual mech flew away. FK. It was a genuine Atlantis mech. The Phantom King's unlimited energy avatar. Holy sh*T, there were few Atlantis pilots who could pull off this move with such skill. Brutal kill. All the pirates were distracted by this Phantom King. There was definitely a monster piloting it. It was impossible to differentiate between the Phantom and the real body. Furthermore, the two mecha were horrifyingly vicious and dealt lethal blows whenever they struck out. Eric's mouth gaped in shock. Why did Atlantis trump card appear here? King's Solar System Federation. Why did they invite these people over just to deal with a bunch of pirates? Did the people of Atlantis have no principles or integrity? Did they not participate in the internal strife between humans? The screams of the pirates echoed endlessly. Afterimages appeared in front of their eyes, dealing crippling blows wherever they appeared. They resisted to the best of their abilities, but even when they hit, they realized that their attacks had only hit the energy avatar, which caused their hearts to sink into despair. The capabilities of the Atlantis mech were of a completely different level. It moved through the darkness, flitting in and out of sight occasionally, causing the pirates to freak out. Was this even a human? This wasn't a mech warrior, this was a monster. The crimson runes looked as though they were engraved from blood. To maintain such an operation for an extended period was beyond man's abilities. At this time, Wang Zheng was merely circulating the primordial regression technique. He was clear-headed, yet at the same time, it seemed as though he was living in a dream, watching a person who resembled himself in battle. In fact, it was Bonehead who was operating the mech. Wang Zheng didn't know if he was a robot or if he was once a warrior, neither did he know why he was in the cube. However, he could feel the immense glory of being a true super soldier. In the eyes of a warrior, battle was a form of belief, a form of existence. Charcoal did not make any noise. It was as though he was providing some form of energy or power to maintain this current ethereal state. It was obvious that these two were not opponents. Wang Zheng could feel himself becoming more and more entwined with the current state Bonehead was in. He did not know he had such great potential in him. Neither did he know that the primordial regression technique could be used in such a way. He had been doing it all wrong the entire time. All this while, Wang Zheng had thought that his battle strategy was right, including the method of using his powers. However, it seemed like he had yet to unleash even 10% of his powers. He liked a kid who owned a treasure chest but concentrated on just one gold ingot. Rumble rumble. Lai Xin and the others were stunned and were standing still. The prowess of the mech was a familiar sight. She had seen the capabilities of the mech in the video clips collected by the Lai family. This was Class A data on Atlantis. Explosive afterimage kill. It was dreamlike and extraordinary, as though the Grim Reaper had come to take lives. The pirates collapsed and began to escape in all directions, unable to resist anymore. This was crushing suppression. At this moment, Chiangson had also received the news that his men had finally taken control of the other two battleships. It was time to attack. The two battleships aimed at the pirate ships that were escaping, and the unmanned drones chased after the pirates. Eric raged. FK, are these people crazy? Chiangson took down the last pirate and looked at Eric. Eric, it's over. Mu Sen, what on earth were you doing? Eric was stunned, as he was the most capable assistant he had recruited from outside the solar system alongside his subordinates. He was ruthless and impressive. When the pirates were fighting for territory internally, he depended greatly on Mu Sen. It had never crossed his mind that Mu Sen was an undercover agent. I'm Chiangson, the leader of the Solar System Federation Pirate Inspection Team. You're courting death. Rumble rumble. The Atlantis mech stayed afloat in the air, the runes dimmed gradually, and the mech slowly turned silent. For Wang Zheng, it was too much to absorb. He had finally understood that Instructor Bonehead wasn't bragging for nothing. This was a real super soldier. With his vision turning dark, at the very last moment, he could still feel a deep longing towards battle. He believed that there was definitely fighting spirit within Bonehead. Within the cube, Bonehead looked at the exhausted charcoal. Both of them came from different lineages, yet they were affiliated. More importantly, they had a common goal. Falling into deep sleep was so that one could wake up, all for the endless battle. The ray of light surrounding the two robots gradually dimmed, until it finally disappeared. Within the ship, Lai Xin and the others were shocked, and everyone was looking at the Atlantis mech that was afloat. They were all unable to believe the reality right before their eyes. Who was the one inside the mech? Lear and Achilles had already piloted their mecha to tow Atlantis, Phantom King back, and everyone saw Wang Zheng lying unconscious in the cockpit. In the midst of this mess, Chiangson had already obtained control of the pirate ship. If not for the immense pressure on the outside that had attracted the attention of the pirates, it would have been a dreadful battle. It was a little too easy for him this time around. That terrifying Atlantis mech had the power of deterrence. As an Earth warrior, one would have heard of how formidable yet horrifying the Atlantis mech warriors were. A lone individual could turn the tables. However, this was only understandable after witnessing its might with one's eyes. But, how could the Solar System Federation order the people of Atlantis around? And their ace pilots at that. Lai Xin immediately went to examine Wang Zheng. Shortly after, she heaved a sigh of relief. Vitals are normal. We can wait for the emergency team to arrive. Everyone else was relieved. They glanced at one another, bewildered by the situation. Wang Zheng was able to operate the Atlantis mech. Furthermore, he had performed so fiercely and cruelly. If he had shown such powers earlier, everyone would have chosen him as the leader. This was no ordinary power. Achilles and Lear did not think it would have turned out this way, but without Wang Zheng's power, all of them would have perished. Rastan looked at Lai Xin and smiled. Looks like we have a leader now. Lai Xin responded, I hope nothing is wrong with him. Having been in battles their entire lives, the three generals had seen many implausible situations. However, this was their first time witnessing such a situation right before their eyes. Looks like we have an ace in the hole. This is probably his ability X. Does Wang Zheng have Atlantis parentage? No, he doesn't. However, the Atlantis people came from Earth. Perhaps amongst the people on Earth, there is a possibility of an individual fulfilling these criteria. Mengao smiled and said, nonetheless, we have a secret weapon now. I don't think there will be any disagreements with him becoming the leader. Haha, you all should thank me for this. If I had not thought of putting the Atlantis mech inside, we would have lost it all. Lai Wuqing laughed. He really did not think much of that decision at that point in time. He only had a lasting impression of Wang Zheng's simple-mindedness at that time, and it had eventually saved the entire team unexpectedly. The pirates were extremely cunning. Thanks to Chiangson's ambush, they finally got rid of one major concern of the solar system and severely shocked the pirates at the same time. Including Yuan Yi, many had approved of Wang Zheng being the leader. If he had not withstood the laser blast at the crucial moment, the team would have suffered major losses. Achilles and Lear were not incompetent, but at this moment, everyone had chosen Wang Zheng as the leader. Lear was a little unwilling, but it was useless. On the other hand, Achilles was rather calm about this outcome. Half an hour later, the fleet led by Duncan arrived, only to realize that the battle had already ended. Duncan linked up with Chiangson. Although they had different ideals, it was no doubt that Chiangson had rendered a meritorious service. As the two of them met up, Chiangson saw the berserk pilot of the Phantom King. The pilot was Wang Zheng. A smile appeared as the old friends had met again. Why, do you know each other? Duncan asked. We're old friends. I knew this guy was different from the rest, but I did not expect him to be so formidable. Help me pass a message to him, that I wish to go into battle together with him in the future, Chiangson said. Duncan was dumbfounded. He knew that for Chiangson, a special forces warrior, there were few individuals that he would take a fancy to. It was unexpected that Chiangson had viewed Wang Zheng in a different light. It was time for Chiangson to report back. Though the mission was a narrow brush with death, it was completed easily in the end, leaving them bemused. All along, Baldy and the others had doubts about Chiangson's praises, but this time they were convinced. Wang Zheng was amazing. From the last battle, it was an undeniable fact that Wang Zheng was the sole contender for the position of the leader. Furthermore, looking at the results of the battle, it was Wang Zheng who saved everyone. Upon returning to Mars, a military meeting was held. Not many were attending, but all of them were the senior generals from the Federation who individually held control over large troops. The Admiral of Mars, Lai Wucheng, had announced the final decision. Wang Zheng had the support of Mars and became the IG leader of the Solar System Federation. In the grand appointment ceremony, it was the first time the Earth military band had stood on this stage, performing the Earth's military music. In the midst of the military band drums drumming away, Wang Zheng stood on the stage and saluted. Then Admiral Mengao walked towards him, with two female guards of honor, holding a small bouquet of flowers and a red wooden box respectively. On behalf of the Solar System Federation Army, I present to Wang Zheng a second-class military medal, and the military records will be input into the Federation's system. Congratulations, Mengao said as he presented the medals and flowers to Wang Zheng. Yes, sir, Wang Zheng said as he received the military medal and flowers. Mengao nodded his head. Then Lai Wucheng and Drachmak walked over with the female guards of honor. Achilles and Lear were appointed as the assistant team leaders. Lai Xin did not make the cut, but it was expected as she did not do much during the intense battle with the pirates. Although she had the abilities, it wasn't the only factor for consideration, the competition was that cruel. Achilles and Lear will receive third-class military medals, and the military records will be input into the Federation's system, Drachmak said whilst giving out the medals. Then he signaled Lai Wucheng to give the closing words. Lai Wucheng smiled and looked at Wang Zheng. The leader can choose 7 team members. There were 12 IG places in the Federation, and the leader had to choose 7 members. Aside from the assistant team leaders, there were 3 places left. The 3 places had long been decided. It would be Lai Xin, Rastan, and Taros. During the training camp selection, no matter how they had fought, it was ultimately an internal competition. However, what awaited them was going against the entire Milky Way. For them to rise up, they had to gather all their powers. Before this, Lear, Achilles, and Taros were told that the Federation would not interfere in their personal feuds. However, during the IG match, they must exemplify the qualities of a real serviceman by giving it their all and helping one another out. Honestly speaking, appointing Wang Zheng as the leader was not solely for his extraordinary performance during the battle with the pirates. It was also in consideration of maintaining the balance within the Federation. Achilles, Lear, and Lai Xin had known each other from young and were always competing with one another. At this point in time, no matter who had become the leader, it would be unacceptable for the other two. Even if they did not obstruct one another's paths, there were psychological obstacles they had to overcome. In a showdown, a little mistake in one's mentality played a major role in determining the final winner. It would be different if the leader was Wang Zheng, as he was an unexpected contender. It would be acceptable if one of the trio did not get chosen, and so did the other 2 rivals who have been fighting all these years as well. The reason why Achilles and Lear were appointed as the assistant leaders, leaving out Lai Xin, was because amongst the 3 individuals, Lai Xin had better relations with Wang Zheng. Things would not go wrong with Lai Xin acting as the lubricant between them. Then Lai Wucheng signaled to Wang Zheng, telling him to choose his members from the rest of the group. This was, in fact, an important ceremony. Having been chosen as the leader after such an intense competition, it was essential to establish dignity among these elites, and the greatest dignity lay in having the power to choose his fellow members. Wang Zheng nodded his head and said, I will get straight to the point. Zhang Runan, Meng Tian, Lai Guang, Edison, Masa Si, Luo Fei, Zhang Shan. The above-mentioned people will be awarded 4th-class military medals. Similarly, the military records will be input into the Federation's system, Lai Wucheng announced. Then what was left was communicating with the Milky Way Alliance headquarters and reporting the list of names. The end of the ceremony meant the official dissolution of the training camp. The 3 admirals smiled at one another and left. Everything was set, and it was time for the young ones to relax and for the eliminated individuals to adjust to the current situation. Wang Zheng, what the heck, why was my name read out last? Zhang Shan questioned. Wang Zheng smiled and patted Zhang Shan's shoulder. The trump card always comes out at the very last moment. Zhang Shan's eyes lit up. Trump card. You mean? Wang Zheng continued, your ability to teleport will definitely amaze the entire Milky Way. Haha, I guess so. I'm the main character who everyone follows and learns from. Zhang San started showing off. Therefore, you don't have time to rest. You still have a long period of time before the actual match, and within this period, you must make significant progress with your powers. That's nothing. I'm the idol of countless girls across the Milky Way. Contrasting to the relaxed atmosphere here, it was a little down and gloomy over on the moon side. Only Masasi was chosen, and most likely it was because he had enrolled in Ares College before. Dong Xiaosa wasn't pleased. Seems like cronyism. He had been so confident in being chosen in front of his family members, but it was all meaningless. You can't put it that way. This is the power of the leader. He has to use people that he knows and understands well. Milo was very calm. Much of the complaints were put down by the fact that Wang Zheng had saved their lives, but the people of the moon had returned in low spirits. Pai Xiaoshu made a passing remark. Well, it isn't too bad. Since Lear didn't get chosen as the leader, I'm fine with it. Do you think our boss will make a big fuss out of this issue? Lear had caused trouble for those from the moon several times. Hence, no matter who would become the leader, they could not let Lear succeed, and that was the consensus of those from the moon. As for Achilles, he had a faint smile on his face. While he had initially thought the position of leader would definitely be his, losing it did not cause much of an impact to him. In fact, he was the first to congratulate Wang Zheng, the newly appointed leader. Lai Xin stood out and said, regardless of the outcome, it is fate that we got to know one another. It's my treat today. Since you came all the way to Mars, how could you all possibly leave without having a taste of Mars' passion and openness? Let the past go and let's look into the future. Let's celebrate. We don't know when we will all meet up like this again. Lai Xin opened the invitation to everyone. After all, Mars was her home ground. This was what she should have done as the hostess, regardless of a successful or unsuccessful outcome. Upon seeing Lai Xin's actions, the members who failed to make the cut became enthusiastic. In any case, they had gained a lot from the IG training camp. It did not matter if they would not take part in the IG match. Their futures were bound to be extremely brilliant because of the training they had gone through. Like Lai Xin had said, they had to let go of the past and look towards the future. Luo Fei went up to Lai Xin's side, smiling. Sister Xin, last time, you mentioned that the ladies on Mars are very open. Is this true? Can you introduce me to some? But first, you can forget about introducing those with impure qualities. Heh, no problem. You'll just have to go and look for Lai Guang. Luo Fei blinked his eyes and ran over to find Lai Guang and attempted to become closer with him by leaning on his shoulder. Lai Guang, I came on behalf of everyone. Shoo, don't lean so close to me, I have already communicated with them on Skylink. The ladies will come soon. What happens after that will depend on your abilities. Our ladies admire men with skills and abilities. Lai Guang smirked. The scent of a beauty could always soothe the wounds of men. Achilles looked at the people from the moon. Other than Masasi, the rest of them did not make the cut. After all that strategizing, it was all in vain. It was only a moment of success or failure. Never has there been a smooth ride. Everyone who experiences storms will witness rainbows at the end of it. Tonight, everyone will relax. We cannot let the beauties of Mars think that the men from the moon are all blockheads. Milo blinked her eyes. Boss, what about me? Are you going to find me a handsome guy? If you want me to, I will definitely do so. How about me? Dong Xiaosa jumped with his star-shaped eyes. Go and play over there. For Lai Xin's banquet, it had a strong Martian style. The wine was brewed specially by the Lai family and the ladies were top beauties picked individually by Lai Guang from respectable Mars colleges via Skylink. After all, based on the Mars ladies' character, such gatherings were opportunities to showcase themselves, and it was a trend. From another perspective, Lai Guang had not spent these years mingling for nothing. Hey, Fatty, I heard that you're quite good. How about performing for us? Luo Fei laughed. Sure. After a few minutes had passed, the beauties suddenly thought of something. Hey, where did the fatty go? He said he was going to perform. Luo Fei suddenly emerged from the ground. How's this? Amazing, isn't it? Concealment ability. It was indeed formidable. But, Ha ha, it was great, to the extent that it could not be seen. Who do you think is more handsome over at the moon? Pai Xiaoshu or Masasi? What? You think Masasi is handsome? Don't you think he is very manly? The beauties neglected the fatty who knew how to turn invisible and started chatting amongst themselves. Wang Zheng was also abandoned by the beauties from Mars as Lai Xin and Meng Tian had sat by his side. With the two ladies who had the temperament of ice and fire, there was no reason for other ladies to come over and end up feeling awkward. Hey, can you two go and play by yourselves over there? Wang Zheng had wanted to feel the passion of the beauties from Mars, but with these two by his side, he would definitely not have the chance. Isn't it enough with me around? Lai Xin smiled. She had developed an interest in Wang Zheng, the eccentric one who could control the Atlantis mech, and he looked rather robust. Forget it. Pretend that I never said anything. Wang Zheng shrugged. Actually, he had only wanted to experience the atmosphere. If anything were to happen, he would definitely be the one to escape. On the other hand, Zhang Shan was enjoying himself. He was accompanied by two Martian beauties by his side and was having a great time. Wang Zheng looked on, speechless. The extent of openness of the people from Mars was a little too much for him to handle. Luo Fei sat on the sofa in the corner, feeling disappointed. He had wanted to drink, but he looked at Lear. It would be fine if it was just wine with low alcoholic content, but this was the strong wine from Mars that was capable of causing him to black out, hence it was better to resist and abstain from it. While Lear did not prohibit Luo Fei from drinking, neither did he give him the go-ahead to drink. At one side of the banquet, Edison's eyes were moving quickly as he was concentrating on a unique version of Skylink. It was the most advanced Skylink from within the Solar System Federation, given to him by Lear. Its operating abilities were comparable to a small-sized brain, and with his abilities, it was as though he was the god of the internet. It's a pity our boss didn't get to be the leader. Honestly speaking, although Wang Zheng isn't too bad, I still cannot accept this outcome. Edison had high regard and respect for Lear. Although Wang Zheng had chosen him to be in his IG list, it was obvious that he was more willing to follow Lear. Luo Fei glanced at Edison and walked over. He patted Edison's shoulder. You think it was by accident that Wang Zheng was chosen as the leader? Edison was stunned, and his eyes were filled with doubts. Could it be? Fatty nodded his head and said in a low voice, "What's so great about the IG selection? The overall arrangements have been done and it's all within the control of our boss. You should do whatever you should be doing. Don't act on your own. If our boss has anything in mind, he will definitely talk to you. Before that happens, please give your best in what you can do." Fatty's words were like a warning. In Lear's world, there was no such thing as an unexpected situation. Every step had been perfectly planned by Lear, and every variable had already been accounted for as well. Was it really not possible to become the leader? So what if one did not become the leader? Being the leader would perhaps appear more glorious in front of others, but Lear had long discarded such a childish mentality of boasting. The real deal worth watching was the actual performance during the IG match. Furthermore, some things could be seen more clearly behind the scenes, and yet others were unable to see through him. Somewhere on faraway Earth, a group of lab workers were busy in their experiment lab. The last batch of gene samples have been delivered. Order received. What young master meant was to generate the results quickly. Currently, the most important biotechnology topic is the influence of gene structure on ability X. We cannot rush the experiment process. I'm only conveying young master's words. You know what his temper is like. The person in charge of the experiment lab stood still and slightly nodded his head. If someone looked closely, they would discover that he was the former Nobel Prize in Biology winner that had gone missing for ages, an expert in gene technology, Jeffers. For a certain group of scientists, in order to research taboo technology, they were willing to sacrifice many things. They were willing to pursue their aims relentlessly. The Solar System Federation's IG list had been confirmed, and Ares College returned to Earth with glory. At this point, regardless if it was Wang Zheng, who had obtained the position of leader, Zhang Shan, Meng Tian, Zhang Runan, all of them were glorified. At the celebration, officials from the city of Beijing were in attendance. It bore great significance, as it was the first time within decades that someone from Earth had won the position of leader. The social networking forums, message boards of the Earth military enthusiasts, and the mecha fandom had all exploded. The Solar System Federation was rising, and so was Earth. A series of terms, which included Ares College, Wang Zheng, IG, and others, filled up the ranks of the top 10 searched terms on the Skylink web. Who was Wang Zheng? On the internet, the individuals who did not know what happened were a little shocked when they saw the ranking for the top searches. Wang Zheng. What is that? Don't you know? The leader of the Solar System Federation IG, the one who beat the sun god Achilles, the queen of Mars Lai Xin, and Lear from the Kronos family. He's so f***ing awesome, there's no need to explain further. It can't be, right? He's that great. How come I've never heard of him before? Haha, this guy is extraordinary, he came out of nowhere. Although the one who replied had referred Wang Zheng as this guy, or that guy, he was feeling extremely proud of Wang Zheng. In the midst of all sorts of discussions, people's interest in Wang Zheng continued to rise, with many of them searching for his name. Inadvertently, Wang Zheng became the top searched phrase. One cannot be like young deer. Instead, work hard to become Wang Zheng. Nobody knew who had posted this status first, but it was rapidly shared across the Earth's network. Old deer had become the model example for being shameless. Wang Zheng, on the other hand, had become the idol for many after his hard work paid off. Who said commoners could not rise up? No man was born a noble. Lear belonged to the Kronos family, Earth's second-to-none wealthy family. Lai Xin came from the Lai family from Mars, the invisible royal family. Achilles belonged to the first family of the moon. They were all from all kinds of nobility and superiority. And Wang Zheng, he was nothing more than a commoner. At times, the word, commoner, had an even greater influence on the masses. But, Old Deer was dragged into this despite being innocent. He updated his status overnight. What did I do wrong again? And who was this Wang Zheng? And what has it got to do with me? I am innocent, I need some consolation. Any girls out there, can we chat privately? From his words, it seemed as though he was expressing his anger and depressed feelings, yet he was also looking for girls. It seemed as though his main agenda was to look for girls. But there weren't many girls leaving consoling comments on his status update. Most of them were neat responses. One cannot be like young deer. One has to maintain the team formation. Old Deer was speechless and posted another status update. I'm quite comforted, for it has been a long time since people have called me, young deer. It sounds so cordial. Besides, at Wang Zheng, shall we be friends or shall we be enemies? The fans were speechless. Old Deer was so thick-skinned to tag Wang Zheng. He was talking over the air, and he had not thought about whether Wang Zheng had a status messaging account or not. Well, Wang Zheng really had a status social networking account, and he registered with the name Wang Zheng. That was because when registering, he did not notice he could use a nickname and hence decided to go with his actual name. Since then, he had not used status, and Old Deer was the first person to have tagged him. When the notification for status came via Skylink, Wang Zheng was elated. The grudges between him and Old Deer were getting even deeper. Although he had already made a name for himself, Wang Zheng's life wasn't much different from what it used to be. In this situation, Ares College had taken a strong protective stance for Wang Zheng. Did someone want to interview Wang Zheng? I'm sorry, please schedule it after the IG match. No, we cannot disturb him and affect his mental state. The respective departments have also given orders. This was a good thing because the students from the military school were part of the reserve forces, and they were considered servicemen. There was a distinct difference between celebrities, and in this regard, the media had also maintained a certain degree of rationality. Becoming famous at a young age and then falling to rock bottom was something Ji Yute had seen too many times. He did not want Wang Zheng to drown in fame and honor and lose himself. He could only succeed if he remained calm. Luckily for Wang Zheng, he was a little mature for his age and did not really care about such fame and attention. Yan Xiaozu was the happiest. He opened a bottle of beer and drank it all in one go. Feeling immense pride for Wang Zheng, He said, "Boss, didn't you say it earlier? Break out of the Federation, destroy the galaxy's system, overturn the universe, and eventually get yourself a beauty." The two of them found themselves a quiet place, lying on the slope of a hill, with a few beers by their side. Wang Zheng had finally made it after all these years. Yan Xiaoshu had also found joy in becoming a nouveau riche, a big one in fact, and he was working towards greater wealth. On the other hand, Wang Zheng did not have the same interests. He wanted to become a mech warrior. Honestly speaking, Yan Xiaoshu did not think there was any fun in putting one's life at risk in battle, but he continued to be funny for Wang Zheng. "Definitely. Oh, yes, why didn't I see in May?" Wang Zheng smiled. He was happy too. He grabbed a beer and drank it all. Ever since his return, the past few days had been troubling and torturing. Everything had finally settled down, and this was a more simple and direct way of enjoying. But half a day had passed and Yan Xiaoshu did not say anything. Ahem, boss, it's like this. Regarding in May and I, we broke up." Yan Xiaoshu grabbed his chin, opened another bottle of beer, and took a sip. "What? How did it happen?" Wang Zheng was really shocked, as he had always thought in May and Yan Xiaoshu could get along well. "I guess it was a peaceful breakup. Don't worry, at least we did not become enemies. How'd I put this? I have returned back to the beautiful forest, and the ladies are welcoming me with open arms." As Yan Xiaoshu said this, he took a large sip of beer, but from his eyes, you could tell something was off. "There really isn't anything else?" Wang Zheng was concerned. "Maybe I realized that it was a pity to give up an entire forest just for one big tree. We're still so young, it isn't worth it to tie ourselves down so soon. I am a rising nouveau riche." Wang Zheng looked on as though he was waiting to see what else Yan Xiaoshu had to say. "Hey, in any case, I'm the heir to a rich family, so there has to be a time for me to have fun and enjoy. If not, it will be a waste to have been born into such favorable circumstances." Wang Zheng was left speechless. Although Yan Xiaoshu was usually careless in his speech and demeanor, his lips were tightly sealed. "Boss, don't ask any further, I'm doing fine now. If you are still worried, I can bring my new girlfriend over. If one isn't enough, I'll bring two." Once again, Yan Xiaoshu started to talk rubbish. "Sure, I will be waiting to see your new girlfriend then, two of them. I'm serious, if you can't find them, you'd better not come." Wang Zheng laughed. "Ahem, okay, I'll try my best." Yan Xiaoshu touched his nose. It was obvious that he did not even have a new girlfriend, needless to say two of them. The two of them drank continuously into the wee hours of the morning. Wang Zheng needed to relax completely and to take a good rest, while Yan Xiaoshu was drinking to drown his sorrows. He wasn't a good drinker, but he drank more than Wang Zheng. Wang Zheng flipped around on the bed with his saliva dripping down. It was obvious that he was having a great dream. Chen Shu and the rest could not be found. Those who were participating in the IG had gotten holidays, like Zhang Shan, who had directly returned home. Wang Zheng had nowhere to go, hence he stayed in the college. The doorbell rang. Wang Zheng woke up immediately with a groggy mind and a heavy head. Seemed like alcohol was something that should not be consumed in huge amounts. Wang Zheng opened the door. It wasn't Yan Xiaoshu but Yi Zisu. Just that, she had specially put on light makeup before coming over. "Zisu, come in. Why are you here?" Wang Zheng blinked his eyes twice. He was used to seeing Yi Zisu barefaced, but there was a weird, tempting feeling when seeing her with makeup. Deep in his heart he thought, she has such a charming side to her. He then realized that he was a little disheveled, with only trousers on, and began putting on his clothes in a hurry. On the contrary, Yi Zisu calmly looked at Wang Zheng. "You've got a great body." "Ahem, are you making fun of your brother? Do you want to get slapped on the butt?" Wang Zheng tried to maintain his prestige of being the big brother. "You're going to beat me?" Yi Zisu said as she playfully blinked her eyes. "Fine. These last 2 days were really tiring for me. I can finally take a break." It had only been 2 days since Wang Zheng and the rest had returned, and they had to attend all sorts of banquets that could not be turned down. It began with the officials from Beijing City, followed by the Asia region, then the Earth, then the Asia region, then the Earth's spokespersons. The influence of the IG was the entire Milky Way. Having someone from Earth as the leader of this season's Solar System Federation IG was of great significance to Earth. Forget about Meng Tian and the others. Wang Zheng was the one on the list that people had specifically wanted to meet. He went out in the morning and only returned to the hotel late at night. There was no time for him to interact with his band of brothers. All he knew was that Chen Xu and Yao Ailun had also joined Xiao Fei's space-time displacement research team and had made some significant progress and that it could even be used on Mecha. As for concrete details, Wang Zheng hadn't had the time to ask. Dealing with the officials from various levels was tiring, but luckily, his efforts did not go to waste. He had managed to fight for benefits for Ares College during the banquets. It was essential to repay as much as one could for the slightest bit of favor that one had received. Although Wang Zheng did not like such occasions where he had to mingle with these big shots, time passed by very quickly even when he did not say much. Nonetheless, Wang Zheng still kept a smile on his face and did not get impatient. Deep down inside his heart, Wang Zheng would rather face Zerg than to be in this situation. It was a torture. There were many benefits, such as the allocation of special funds to Ares College under the directives and authorization of one of the spokespersons at the banquet. With that, the college could fill up the mech warehouse, which was great news for students who were in the mech department. At last, they had something that was tangible and concrete. Yi Zissou smiled widely and asked about details of the banquet. Did that spokesperson really wear a wig? How would I take notice of that? I was busy discussing the mecha sponsorship. Wang Zheng was surprised by Yi Zissou's question, and deep down inside he felt that women had a weird focus of thinking. Oh, yes, how's Mei doing? How did Xiaoshu and her break up? Wang Zheng did not question further, but he was nonetheless concerned. You already found out about it? Yi Zissou shook her head and said, don't you worry, they broke up peacefully. Honestly, this whole matter, how'd I put it? I don't know whether to laugh or cry, it's all thanks to Mei's wonderful mother. What exactly happened? All those words from Yan Xiaoshu about not being able to give up an entire forest because of a single tree was pure nonsense because Wang Zheng knew Xiaoshu very well. Yi Zissou sighed. Regarding this matter, Mei and Xiaoshu had nothing to do with it. I asked Mei. The situation over at her side is a little, actually, not long ago, both of them had intended to get engaged. Wang Zheng was stunned. Engagement? You were still training on the moon at that time. It was brought up by Mei's family, and Xiaoshu's family agreed as well. Then, when the parents of both sides met for the first time, Mei's mother said something unpleasant behind their backs and coincidentally Xiaoshu heard it. Yi Zissou shook her head. She had heard from Mei about her eccentric mother. At their first meeting, she brought up two requests to Xiaoshu's father. The first request was 60,000 Federation dollars in cash as the betrothal gift. The second was to allocate 12% of the Little Lucky Star shares under Mei's name. Elder Yan was a generous person, but anyone who had to face requests like these during a formal meeting would surely hesitate. Besides, the request was asking for too much. The King Space Project was in a period of tension, and a large portion of Little Lucky Star's funds had to be injected into the project. Dealing with the pressure of the financial oligarchs, Little Lucky Star and OMG were both working hard. In light of their current situation with a cutoff in funds, they had to increase their capital investments. But Mei's mother was firm, insisting that the betrothal gift must be given before the engagement and that there was no room for negotiation. Furthermore, she felt that the Yan family had no sincerity. Her precious daughter had chosen to follow Yan Xiaoshu, yet he was hesitant about giving up this sum of money. Actually, this was the after effect of Yan Xiaoshu's bragging. In the eyes of Mei's mother, the Yan family was extremely wealthy. She perceived them as though they possessed mountains of gold and silver. Yet when the time came, the Yans said that they didn't have money. Wasn't that not showing sincerity? To determine if a man loved a woman, it boiled down to whether the man was willing to spend on the woman. This was Mei's mother's worldview. Just as Elder Yan was making a call to think of a solution, Yan Xiaoshu had decided to talk to Mei's mother in a bid to gain favor with his future mother-in-law. But he did not expect to hear Mei's mother reproaching Mei instead. What little lucky star? What space project? It was all blown up by the media. They were so hesitant to give up $60,000. What kind of taste in men do you have? The son is so contrived, and the same goes for his father. Even a classy suit looked like a renovation worker outfit on his father. It seems their family is countrified to their bones. What a waste for being decked out in branded clothes. If I were to add on their stingy personalities, they couldn't even match up to a pinky finger of the Yin family. If she was referring to Yan Xiaoshu, he was already used to it, so his skin was as thick as a wall. This small insult would not have triggered him. But she was referring to his father. Yan Xiaoshu was enraged. He was seldom angry, but no one could say such things about his father. Unfortunately, Xiaoshu accidentally hit the door just as he was about to leave. The discovery of this insult had meant that the conflicts between the two families could never be resolved. Elder Yan was magnanimous. It was not the first time someone had said that he was uncouth. It did not matter, for Mei was a good girl. As long as his son was happy, everything else could be discussed further. Money was not something that would stay with an individual for his entire life. But Yan Xiaoshu wasn't agreeable. Others could laugh at him, but definitely not at his father. Furthermore, they were going to become a family in the future. Wang Zheng shook his head. He felt so helpless over this matter. Isn't Mei all right? Wang Zheng knew Yan Xiaoshu well. He knew that deep inside, Xiaoshu still cared about this. He would not be unbothered if those words were said by outsiders. But when someone close to him said such words, it would hurt him to the core. How'd I put it? She is okay, I guess. After all, that is her mother, and she can only say that she understands it. Yi Zisu laughed. Anyways, I came looking for you today because there is a high school gathering. Are you coming along? Can I not? Wang Zheng replied. Come on, accompany me to the event. You are considered famous now. You will be looked down on by our classmates if you don't go, Zisu said. Okay. Oh, yes, when is the gathering? Wang Zheng scratched his head. He did not mean to put on airs and not attend the gathering, but the truth was, he was an outcast during his high school days. He wasn't sure how many of them would remember him, and those who remembered would probably not have a good impression of him either. It's today, 7:30 in the evening. The time now is 5 o'clock. Shall we set off now? Wang Zheng hurriedly changed the topic. Yesterday, he joked about making Yan Xiaoshu bring his two girlfriends over. He did not expect Xiaoshu to take it seriously, as Xiaoshu had not come over to look for Wang Zheng. Let's drive there, I have a car now. Wang Zheng smiled. After his return, Ji Yute rewarded Wang Zheng with a maglev car in the name of the college. It was a tradition to reward students from their respective faculties for their remarkable performance, especially those who brought honor to the college. Did you take the driver's license examination? How about letting me drive instead? Zisu questioned. Zisu, you're looking down on me. As a super warrior who can maneuver a mech, driving is considered easy to me, Wang Zheng said. Half an hour later, hey, brother, we're going a little slow. Yi Zisu shook her head as she watched other cars overtake their car one after another. Safety comes first. Wang Zheng was a little dispirited. There were two matters altogether. If not for Yi Zisu, he would have taken this opportunity to go for a fast and exciting ride. But there was another person on board, hence he wasn't able to do so. He had chosen to drive slower instead. After all, social order and military special training were two separate matters. You're sure that you don't want me to take over? Wang Zheng pretended to not hear anything. Just let me do it. Wang Zheng continued his pretense. There's a rest stop in front, how about we take a rest there? Okay. Wang Zheng heaved a sigh of relief. He was rather stubborn. The levitating car slowly moved towards the signal transmission area, which had a speed limit control. Not long after, it entered a vertically falling lane diverter and directly landed in a rest stop on the ground. The rest stop was huge. Many cars were parked there, and the rest of the area was very lively. Although it was an expressway rest stop, the nearby residents would also come over to spend time in the cafes, bars, restaurants, and the fairly priced supermarket. The two of them walked into the cafe and ordered 2 cups of coffee without caffeine. Just as they sat down, a surprising voice came from behind. Zisu? Turning back, they could see a lady decked out in a women's-styled suit looking in their direction. The stranger looked pleasantly surprised. It really is you. Lan, Yi Zisu called out in surprise. You're attending the gathering too? Sha Lan was one of Yi Zisu's good friends from high school. After completing her studies, She did not enroll in any of the universities but instead chose to pursue a career. Yes. There has been plenty of news about you recently and I'm so happy for you. I'm finally able to congratulate you face to face. Thank you. Where did you go after graduating? You didn't even attend the graduation ceremony. I went into fashion design, and I was so busy that I did not have the time to attend your birthday celebration. It was a pity not attending the graduation ceremony either. After a year and a half, I guess I'm a little famous now. And now you're a designer, congratulations. Here's my name card. Jisoo, please keep it. Feel free to come and visit me anytime. Wow, you opened a company? Tailor-made? That's great. If I need anything, I will definitely look for you. Wah, a big client from OMG, I won't give you a discount, haha. It's not a good habit to make money from your friend like this. Won Jung looked on from the side. He drank his coffee while he watched the two girls bicker and laugh. It was pleasing to his ears. It felt like he had returned back to his high school days. It was a good feeling. Won Jung, this is Sha Lan, my good friend. Yi Jisoo smiled as she introduced Sha Lan to Won Jung. Sha Lan blinked her eyes and extended her hand to Won Jung. Won Jung, although we weren't classmates, I still know you. After all, hee, you're a real celebrity now. You were featured on the news, IG Captain. Hee, you're an actor on the Milky Way stage now. Thank you. For the glory of Earth, I'm giving my best. Won Jung smiled while nodding his head. He asked Sha Lan how things were going for her recently. I started a small company, which is doing fine I guess. Sha Lan's character was a little rash. After speaking a few words, she pulled Yi Jisoo to one side. Let's have our own women's private talk. We'll be back soon. Yi Jisoo smiled and came along cooperatively to the corner when Sha Lan softly said. Jisoo, you and Won Jung don't have anything going on between you two, right? Yi Jisoo smiled and said, we're good friends, work partners, and we're from the same high school. Now we're in the same college. Ah, well, I saw you sitting with him and I was shocked. Don't be tricked by him. I'm not saying that he's not good, it's just, he's definitely not good enough for a princess of OMG like you. I'm not as great as you make me sound, and what's this about being a princess? Come on, don't spread this nonsense. I'm not. OMG is like the midday sun. I've overheard people in high society saying that your family has surpassed even the Kronos clan. Oh, right, Yi Shisi will be here too. He's been trying to woo you for 3 years now and he refuses to give up. Determined guy, he was part of your pack of admirers back in the day, and he's even more impressive now. Have you been bribed? No way, I'm just saying he's a pretty good choice. But I mean, we're still young and good looking, there's no need to hurry. Hee. Let me tell you, when it comes to men, we've got to play hard to get if we want them to treat us better. Then again, I forget, you don't need that anymore, but just make sure not to get compromised or tricked, alright? Yi Jisoo simply smiled. Maybe Sha Lan was being nice, maybe she was just being gossipy. These were the things she used to say in school, but hearing these words now somehow felt different to her. It can only be said that society was always in flux. Sha Lan obviously did not notice the look in Yi Jisoo's eyes and continued talking at length. One person had returned from some college and had high hopes of becoming a politician, some other guy started a business in college and had a bright future. It's about time to leave. Ah, silly me. I've been so excited, I completely lost track of time. Jisoo, did you drive here? I came in Won Jung's car. Oh, what does he drive? Sha Lan asked, batting her eyelids. Pulley. No way, even I'm driving a Lingfeng, it was a prize from our college. Oh, a prize? Haha. That makes sense. Even though he's made a name for himself now, he's still a student. Why don't you ride with me, Jisoo? We can continue talking on our way back. If you're not comfortable telling him, I'll go let him know. Yi Jisoo shook her head and smiled politely. No need for that. Sha Lan was stunned. She nodded. Well, if that's the case, then it's your choice, you know, you're still exactly the same. You haven't changed one bit. Yi Jisoo returned to Won Jung's side and smiled apologetically. Let's go. At the car park, Sha Lan watched as Yi Jisoo crawled into an ugly-looking pulley levitating car. She shook her head and activated her Lingfeng. The engines roared and it flew into the high-speed airways, disappearing quickly. About before that Sha Lan, she blabs and speaks whatever is on her mind. Don't be bothered by it. Yi Zisu knew Wang Zheng's true capabilities, but even though they had spoken privately in a corner, Yi Zisu wondered if Wang Zheng had heard everything they had said. Wang Zheng laughed. What did she say about me? You didn't hear her? Do I look like I enjoy eavesdropping on others? Oh, well then, it's nothing. That's not true, she definitely said something about me. Did she say something bad? Or maybe she complimented me? Peeved. What's there to compliment about you? Don't try to learn from second brother. That trick doesn't work on me. How does it not work? You're smiling. Hey. Stop wasting our time talking about this and drive faster, will you? Ahem, I'm still adjusting to it. I'll be able to drive faster soon. Wang Zheng was driving at the lowest speed limit on the highway. Hurry up, Yi Zisu began to find it funny and kept rushing him. You do that again and I'm stopping the car. Wang Zheng's unique sense of humor put Yi Zisu between laughter and tears. Finally, they arrived at the hotel where the gathering was held. Owlin Holiday Inn, the Milky Way's 5-star hotel. An entire level was booked out for the event. There was even a laser light scrolling banner hung up at the hotel's main entrance that read, Dawn High School's Homecoming on Level 3. It was evident that everybody had made tremendous improvement in their years apart. Some of those who joined the workforce did particularly well and had climbed up the ranks. Upon entering the hotel lobby, a few familiar silhouettes could be seen from afar. Just then, a staff member quickly made his way up to greet her. Miss Yi? Yi Zisu nodded. The hotel's staff immediately acted as if they were waiting upon a country's leader, carefully escorting the two of them up the elevator. On level 3, Sha Lan was chatting with a handsome man with golden hair, glancing at the elevator from time to time. When she saw Yi Zisu, she immediately came up and said, Zisu, you took quite some time. The handsome man with golden hair slowly walked up, looking at Yi Zisu coolly. Zisu, long time no see. Yi Shi, long time no see. This schoolmate here doesn't look very familiar. Sorry, level 3 is for those of us who know one another well to get together. The hall on level 1 has been booked. It's for everyone to gather. We'll be there in a while too. Yi Shi did not invite everyone to join them. He looked at Wang Zheng. Wang Zheng now understood what was going on. No wonder Yi Zisu had wanted to bring him along for her class gathering, to deal with these people. As her big brother, taking out these annoying flies was part of his duties. Back in high school, Zisu had no lack of suitors. She and Yu Jing were two unparalleled beauties. As Yu Jing disappeared, Yi Zisu became even more popular. With beauty and fame, many of them had different ideas in their heads and had ulterior motives coming to this gathering. Wang Zheng was not actually interested in gatherings like this. They may have been competitive in school, but they were schoolmates after all, and they could laugh things off. But now, being in college or in the working world, doing things like that left a different taste in their mouths. Even then, given a situation like that, Wang Zheng did not want to act like he was riding a high horse. Sha Lan grinned. Student Yi, you're too ill-informed, aren't you? This is Wang Zheng, the team captain of Solar Systems IG team, the pride of Ares College. IG, oh, I remember now. You play with swords and guns. Tisk tisk. The country's safety is in your hands, the super soldier of the future. Yi Shi nodded, smiled, and made a gesture of invitation for him to join them. It was clear that all those things about level 3 being reserved for closer friends was bullshit. It was for successful people. Wang Zheng chuckled. No need. I'll go to level 1. I saw my classmates, Xiaolu and friends, earlier on. I'll go and say hi to them. Yi Shi gleamed. Suit yourself then. You can come up here and join us if you want. I've heard the news introducing what IG is. Seems interesting. This was a classic move. He didn't actually care. Yi Zisu had obviously predicted this to happen. She secretly batted her eyes at Wang Zheng coyly. You're my big brother, and these things should be dealt with by you. Sha Lan made a few faces at Wang Zheng. What a dummy, level 1 is for those laymen, and level 3 was the place where the successful congregated. A network of schoolmates was a money-making network. People were separated by class and status. It was alright in school, but outside of school and in society, this difference was a lot more stark and obvious, and people should know where they stood. Wang Jung grinned at Sha Lan. Zissou, why don't you come to our level and chat first, then go back up? Otherwise, you'll never be able to come back down. Wang Jung said, with a hint of mockery. Yi Zissou smiled. I'll come with you. It's been a long time, I kind of miss them, too. She said while entering the elevator with Wang Jung. Yi Shixi stared. Sha Lan gaped. No way. No matter how innocent or naive Yi Zissou was, she couldn't possibly fall for someone like that. Forget about what team leader you were. Even if you were a super warrior, you're just someone who sent himself to death. He was not a commander, he was just a mech warrior on land, pretty much cannon fodder. Inside the elevator, Wang Jung looked at Yi Zissou. Were you already expecting that? Yi Zissou smiled and lightly tugged at Wang Jung's arm. Can't you indulge me just this once? Wang Jung shrugged. Sure, no problem. I'll do my job well. The two of them chuckled. Yi Zissou was helpless. She was too popular these days, and she attracted so much attention that she couldn't reject them in time. Never underestimate the fighting will and determination of these slutty men. They would chase and pursue relentlessly, and they stuck pretty hard. Plus, they were classmates, and it was hard to reject and turn them away. It's been said that it's within your rights to accept or reject, but it's others' freedom to love or not. Xiaolu's results in class were on the lower end, and so he had a pretty good relationship with Wang Jung and Yan Xiaoshu. They had some sort of interaction at the very least. They would share their good fortune but would split ways when in woe. Their relationship was akin to, every man for himself. But even then, this type of friendship, while not as sincere and trustworthy as Yan Xiaoshu's, where they were willing to die for each other, was one where they knew and understood each other well. Suddenly seeing each other after being apart for more than a year, they were genuinely happy and nostalgic. Wang Jung. Aha! Xiaolu jumped out of his seat. Just as he was about to dash into Wang Jung for a bear hug, he caught a glimpse of Yi Zissou behind him. Snap! His smile immediately turned into a nervous twitch. Yi, student Yi, oh, my, why are you here? Yi Zissou smiled. Isn't this a class gathering? Why, am I being excluded? No, how could we? Hee, student Yi, here, please, haha. Another male student came running up, smiling agitatedly, his heart thumping as if 1,000 horses were galloping inside. Damn! What was this goddess doing here instead of being on level 3? If he had known earlier, he wouldn't be wearing this $500 flea market stuff. He'd rent a $10,000 Federation dollars luxury suit no matter what. What a failure on his behalf. To put it nicely, there was not enough space here, but in actual fact, everybody knew what was going on. No matter what, those people on level 3 were the ones who paid for the gathering, and it wouldn't be nice to say anything. If they were really confident, they could go to level 3 too. Yi Zissou glanced at Wang Jung, and seeing Wang Jung blink at her, she walked off into the crowd to say hi to everyone. She was well liked by people. Although she was pretty, the girls liked her anyway. The things she wore were other girls' fashion goals. In an instant, a group of girls had crowded around her. Zissou, your earrings are beautiful, they must be expensive. This one's okay, not very expensive. They're from D&D, 300 Federation dollars. No way, they don't have these in the DD outlets. It's on the members' exclusive catalog. It's because I've bought quite a lot of things at their shop and accidentally became a Diamond class member. That's why they sent the catalog to me. The items on there are all unique and never repeat. They're not too bad. If any of you like it, I can buy them on your behalf. Really, is it too much trouble? Nah, you can earn some members' points for me. It's okay if you're not interested. No, quick, show us the catalog. Yi Zissou and the girls were happily chatting, obviously nothing men could join in on. Xiaolu remembered Wang Jung. Damn, bro, something wrong with you? School Belle Yi was behind you and you didn't realize? I heard you're the team captain of IG Solar System. Awesome. Glory for all of us, about right. I'm general material anyway. Wang Jung chuckled. What a brag. I've seen some professional analysis on forums. Looks like they chose you to balance out Lear, Lai Shin, and Achilles. But it's awesome you were seen as a balanced choice. Let's go drink to our heart's content. Xiao Lu laughed heartily. He was more concerned with IG and could be considered a military mech head.